up? What's up?
Hello, everybody.
Yo, this is Anthony and Jackie, and welcome to our first official episode of Jones Let's Talk. Today, we're going to kick it off by kind of giving you guys the whole story on how we met. I know before on 95.3 with the Kempers, we told you kind of a little snippet of it and, kind of went through the motions of doing that. So, without further ado, here we go.
Here we go. So when we met twice. We had two different encounters.
Yes.
Our very first encounter, as you heard on the radio show, was at the park. I had a school, 10-year class reunion.
Yep.
And his brother basically hooked us up.
D Major.
You might want to tell him how that went.
Yeah, me and bro was kind of hanging out. Really didn't want to go nowhere that day. But he came to pick me up. Went to his class reunion. They was having a barbecue at Anderson Park. Soon as I got there, I saw this beautiful young lady to my right. And I was like, yo, I got to meet her, and my brother came back down from the gazebo where he was hanging out with some of his classmates and everything. And I was like, bro, who is that over there? That PYT, pretty young thing. So D Major Picasso, man, love you, bro. Appreciate that. So yeah, man. So he kind of introduced us, and we literally talked the whole time they had the barbecue, like almost to the point where people were leaving and we were still over there talking. So, the chemistry was right off the bat. You got anything to add to that?
No, that was true. We sat there. What was you sitting? I was standing.
No. Nah, I was standing. You was sitting. You was sitting on that little bench over there.
Oh yeah,
with your little legs crossed. I seen them long legs.
Like a lady. Like a lady, and we did talk. We learned. Well, that was the time we learned you like to go to the zoo.
Yeah.
And piano, musician, piano, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we just talked a lot then, and then start talking really every day.
Yeah, but the crazy part, I'm gonna go back for a second, but the bizarre part, it was like. It was crazy how we had so much in common, like, and so many different things we had in common that we never ran into each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I used to go to the zoo just to walk around, because I loved it. I had one of the membership friends at the zoo, and I used to go to the zoo all the time, and it's still just so bizarre we never ran into each other.
I agree. So. It was weird.
Yeah.
But after that initial encounter, we talked every day and all of that, and the long talks, you be on the phone all night, all that, getting to know each other, and then something happened. It got on my nerves. He was, I would say, kind of too aggressive, maybe for me at the time of my life.
I was not aggressive.
For me at the time of my life,
I was being a gentleman, ma'am.
Were you?
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? You were being a gentleman. I was just, I don't know. I had a lot going on. I had one child then at the time, and when this happened in the summer, and so I was taking our oldest to summer school, and I would do that every morning. Anthony would call me every morning, and to me it messed up my routine, and I would be dropping him off, and then my phone would ring. I'd be like, and I'd talk to him, I'd be like, goodness gracious, and so all of that was just, and I guess getting in my way. I guess I could say it felt like to me.
Whatever. However you want to put it.
That's how I felt then. And so also had a relationship that was kind of fizzling in and out at the time. And so dealing with that relationship, dealing with one kid and all of that, it was just too much. And so I had to break it off. So it was just courting at the time.
Yeah, it was courting, we both were
chemistry.
It was chemistry, but we both were dealing with relationships that was kind of headed towards the end. Because I had two kids at the time. I had our daughter, and an older son. So it was just a lot. But I was just I was feeling you. You know what I mean? And then, you know, went off to school. You know, and we just kind of ended. I don't even know how the conversation.
Yeah, I don't know how the conversation.
I don't even know if it was a conversation. It might have just fizzled off.
Like I probably stopped answering my phone or something.
Or something, or I just even was like, man, I ain't messing with her.
She played too much.
Yeah. I mean, it probably went like that. But I mean, I thought I was in there though. I thought I was doing my thing. You know, and for me, it wasn't even a physical thing, because and at that time, man, you know, I was not thinking physical, like
me either.
Like it was just something different at that time, like, and I don't know why, because probably at that time I'm pretty sure my hormones was probably off the chain.
Because when we first met, because when we was on the radio show, we was gauging it at almost 30. But we were almost 30 when we met the second time.
Yes.
So we were early 20s. Yeah. Because Dorian would have been, so I would have been 20. I don't know. Dorian was in kindergarten. Would have been, right?
Yeah, Dorian was young. Nah, but Kobe was born, wasn't he?
Nope.
Kobe wasn't born then?
Nope.
Well, Kobe wasn't born then, Maury wasn't born.
Nope. When you said that, I was thinking like, no, Maury wasn't there. So it was Dorian was in kindergarten.
Okay.
So he would have been 5.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's.
And yeah.
No.
Nope.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Anyway.
Clearly, we don't have our dates and stuff down.
Right.
But I know for sure it was just me and Dorian at the time, and Dorian was in first kindergarten.
Okay.
At that school.
Okay.
That he went to. So yeah, that was kindergarten. So that was a long time ago when we first met. But anyways, we had a second encounter. But the first encounter was just so great because everything was just so perfect. He used to come to my job and pick me up, lunch, and Lookout Point. Our first kiss was at Lookout Point.
It was.
I remember that hat you had on, and I don't remember too much, but I remember that hat you had on. Yeah. The first thing you did was grab a piece of gum and put your gum back. We were sitting on them concrete, the concrete table, like
make
what was
your
it?
buns
Concrete,
hurt.
Yeah, it was concrete.
Make your buns hurt up there at the Lookout Point. Them things was hard.
Yeah, it was like the bench. It was like a circle table and the bench, but it was all concrete. Yeah, the first thing I seen you pull out that gum, and I was like, oh, here we go.
Kissy kiss, pucker up, baby.
But yeah, I do remember that, and
but that for me at that time, it was just clean. You know what I'm saying? It was good, clean, wholesome friendship. You know what I'm saying? Like I really enjoyed that. You know, it was. I don't think it was like
lusting over
you. Or even putting any pressure on you to be lustful. You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't.
Because like I said, I'm pretty sure around about that time my hormones was probably off the charts. You know, I'm young. You know, thinking that I could, you know, easily, you know, because
smash.
I wasn't gonna say that now, but yeah, nah, just one of those things, man. You know, at that time, I had some times where I was feeling myself, you know, but at that time, it just was, to me, it was just so serene and peaceful that I could, you know, enjoy you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't,
conversation.
And it wasn't
no pressure. Yeah, there wasn't any pressure for us to do anything.
Yep.
We weren't even in positions to
really be that way. Right.
So yeah, that was cool. And then it was the break, but let me say so all of that broke off.
Yep.
And then but in between, like every year, once a year, Anthony would email me and ask me how I was doing.
Yeah.
Was it about once a year?
Yeah.
He would ask me like how I'm doing. And I was in a relationship. So then it had been a 6-year break, because that previous relationship was definitely about 6 years.
Because mine was about 6 after, or 5 or 6 after that.
Right. So
I'll say 5 for sure.
Right. So that whole 6-year break, about once a year, he would email me and ask how I was doing.
Yep.
And I would just be vague, like, fine. And then one time I remember, like, I sent you, like, me with a picture of the kids.
Yeah.
And,
that was real cool.
Yeah, because I thought I was keeping the picture.
Bang.
And then, but it still wasn't even like we didn't continue talking.
Nope.
It wasn't like we was building a relationship. He would just chime in.
It was just a check-in.
Yeah, you just did a check-in.
Yep.
And then you check back out. And I wish I would have been more honest about how my life was going when you would check in. And then I think we would have talked more. You know what I'm saying? If I wouldn't have been so vague, like, I'm fine. Or whatever, like, or like respond like, how are you? Fine, okay, the end.
Right.
If I would have been like, my life is trash right now. Help me. You were so great. Then that 6 years wouldn't have been that long. I think I would have easily pushed towards you than the other. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
I would have had
likewise.
Yeah, I would have had for me something.
Right. Likewise.
Better,
But then too, you gotta remember
God's plan.
And we didn't we talk about it all the time, but like we always stated that I think if we would have got together, then we probably would have ruined.
We would have ruined God's plan.
Yep.
Yeah, we say that all the time. Like we would have ruined God's plan because we were immature.
Yeah, very. I would say very immature and very what's the word for it? Insecure to the point where I didn't know how to lead.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I didn't know how to handle finances. You know, even then, just kind of navigating through women, I just wasn't good at, and maybe I would have just ruined the relationship I had with you at that time.
Right, so. And I think like the struggle that I went through and the heartbreak and all that, it makes me appreciate you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I wouldn't have went through all of that heartbreak and all the stuff, like I wouldn't have appreciated you like I do now, because all the stuff that I received from you was the stuff that I expected then.
Right.
And so now that I get it, I'm like this is what I deserved and what I should have been getting a long time ago. Like I deserved that.
Yep.
So yeah, we wouldn't have appreciated.
Not at all.
Would it have worked?
I think it could have, just for the simple fact, I've always been kind-hearted. I've always been cognizant or aware of how I made people feel. It was almost like a conviction without being convicted, right? Like that may not make sense. I always had conviction, right? So I think if I'd have known how to, because at that time, I will admit, you know, I was probably trying to be a player, stuff like that, doing dumb stuff, you know. So at that time, I probably would have been convicted and be like, all right, I need to, this one, she's it. She's that deal. Yeah, she that deal.
No.
She that deal.
So now we're at when we met the second time?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll start off.
Okay.
So, I was staying in apartments in Grandview, and I had my kids and another kid with me, and I had on some workout clothes, and I didn't feel like it was skimpy until
man, I didn't feel like she had on these leggings, Lord
Jesus. And this little workout top, and it was hot in the summertime.
Ooh.
Anyways, it was hot in the summertime.
Because the weasel say,
And so, anyways, I'm walking the kids up the sidewalk on a bike. It don't matter. Anyways,
they was on some kind of big wheel or something.
Yeah. So my memory's right. So they was pushing them up the sidewalk to go up the sidewalk, and here come this big red. What was it? Tahoe, Yukon, or some
23s,
with some rims on it. And instantly I clammed up, like, oh my God, I don't want nobody to see me. And so I kind of like clammed up, and then I'm like trying to get the kids to go. And of course they stop, and they stop right where he pulls his truck into. And I'm like, oh my God. And so he pulls in, and he actually gets out the car, and he stops and says something to the kids. And he was like, hey, how y'all doing? Whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like he didn't pay no attention to me. Like he was just address the kids and then didn't say nothing to me. And I was like, oh, okay. It made me feel good. Like, oh, okay, good. It's like he wasn't paying no attention to me. And so then I keep pushing the kids along, like, okay, come on, let's go. And then his
and then so I actually was coming from Colorado. I was trying to get back or trying to get into the acting scene. So I went down there to try to do a commercial shoot and all that kind of stuff. So did that, was getting my luggage out the car, like she said, was speaking to the kids. You know, I saw her, I was like, whoop. But I had to let her know, like, yo, I ain't trying to push up on you. I want to get to the kids. You know what I'm saying? So I did that. I got my luggage. Yeah, right. I got my luggage out the car. I take it upstairs, go into my apartment, and man, I felt kind of
like a creep.
Like a creep for a minute, because I looked out the blind. I was looking at my blinds. I was like, and I can't. Did you looked up there?
No, I never,
okay. I was like, oh shoot, let me get out of there before she see me. So I got out the blinds, and I was like, man, I think that's Jackie. And I was like,
and see, I was trying not to look at the guy, so I never even paid no attention.
Yeah,
I wasn't looking up. I was like, damn, like
right.
So I never even seen you.
I was like, man, I think that's Jackie. So I go to work the next day and I email her and I was like, yo, you stay in Grand Summit?
And I was like, yes, oh my God, guys, you remember that guy that used to come to my job and bring me food and we went to Lookout Point and all that. And I was like, he just emailed me, he stays in the apartment complex next to mine.
Right.
So he's staying in this complex here and I'm staying in this complex here. So, and literally we've been staying in those complexes for a year and had never seen each other.
Saw each other.
And during that time, apparently we were both going through the breakup of a relationship. So then everything, our whole life was like kind of parallel to each other. Like we were doing everything.
I mean, literally, the bizarre part was, again, everything was all, this was God's design. I'm telling you, this wasn't nothing but divine power, because like we was going to work every day around about the same time, and I never saw this woman. I never
seen the truck. I'm like, how did I miss this?
I know.
Miss you speeding.
I know. It was crazy. And you know, I had my music blasting too, so I was just kind of like, yo, man. Got home around about the same time and just never saw each other. And again, I just know it wasn't but God's the divine order, because
he intervened on that.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we had, but then it took us like 2 weeks before we met up.
Met up again.
Yeah, so it took us about 2 weeks before we met up. Even after that, you would think that we would have ran like next door and be like, nice to see you.
Yeah, but we never did.
But we did. And it took about 2 weeks, and then I think we emailed about like, you want to meet or something like that. And we met outside. We met outside. We met outside. But it took about 2 weeks even from then to meet.
Yeah.
That is our.
That is it. But nah. Wait a minute. Time out. No, it's not. So let me tell you how we ended up as a couple. So we outside, we chilling, we talking.
This is after a while.
No, it was the next. No, it was it was a little bit, because you know we still was kind of filtering. You know, kind of.
We had been on dates and
all that stuff. So we was outside. We was just talking. It was summertime too. Still, so we outside talking, having a good time. Blah blah blah. And she was like, "You my man." No, what'd you say?
You my boyfriend.
She was like, "You my boyfriend." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I was just kind of like, "Oh, okay."
We together.
No, that's what you said. That's what you said. Yeah. She was like, "We together," and I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Yeah."
Boss.
I was like, "Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we are." And after that night we went back, I was just kind of like,
had a good laugh over that.
Like, dang, she just pumped it being in a relationship, man. And so it was beautiful though, but I was just like, dang, I don't think I ever got pumped like that, but it felt good though. It felt good.
Yeah, because we went right into it.
Yeah, it felt good to be loved. It felt good to be wanted. It felt good at the time to be appreciated. And just to kind of start a new chapter something that was fresh, that was new, and that was
Yeah.
definitely appreciated. You know what I mean?
I agree.
So it was one of those things where, man, it was definitely a blessing in disguise, man. Crazy.
Yeah, I love our story.
For sure.
Yeah, because I think
For sure.
I was involved in it completely
All day long. And
because how do we end up staying next to each other,
and
never
saw
seeing each other, and then it would just be like, okay, today's the day.
Right. Nobody can tell me God wasn't in it. I had one of my greatest gospel artists had a song. It was like little is much and God is in it. And that little is much was right there with us. Like, I mean, it was one of those things where, like, it's just so beyond me that I cannot explain it enough. But just to say, it was divine order, man.
Yeah, I know.
That's it.
I mean, even because we did our kids, like I had Dorian, the next year you had AJ, and then I had Kobe, and next year you had Amari. Like we were like just almost living the same life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow,
like I was just a year ahead of you, but we were still living the same life, producing kids. Like I do it, you do it, and I do it, right. You do it, and then it's like
I never looked at it like that.
Me either until right now. But yeah, like that.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, what was it? It's really crazy. I love it.
One of the best decisions I ever made, though. You know,
mine too.
And we'll definitely get in, unless you want to get into it now, just the kind of whole aspect of, you know, we ended up moving together. We ended up, you know, getting engaged and all that stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, we was together. A year and decided to get married.
You know, it was what the good thing was. I don't remember her name, but it was a older couple, and they were just kind of speaking into our lives and was like,
Wilbert and Miss Harton.
Yeah, like, what are y'all waiting for? Like, y'all love each other, y'all do this.
And they heard our story.
And they heard our story, and they was
Wilbert
like,
and Miss Harton. I took you over there, and they did that. And then I think that was the next week we went to the courthouse. The next week we went to the courthouse and got married because they were just the confirmation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yes. They were confirmation. It was like because we would talk to our parents, mention me, but talk to our parents and mention it. You know what I'm saying, to people, and then once we talked to them, it was like.
But let me say this: one of the main things that you as a man, young man, old man, whatever. Again, I'm still old school. I was raised by my grandmother. I made sure that I took her parents out to eat, and we sat down and I asked them, could I marry their wonderful daughter? And I really did. I said, I thank God for you two, for creating her for me. You know, I know God created you guys, and I was like, but I thank God God created you guys so you can create her for me. So that was one of the best things, man. So anytime you going through that, or somebody wants to get engaged, wants to get married, and if the parents are willing and wanting to be receptive to that, take them to go eat. If you can't afford it, go to their house, you know, and say, hey, may I have your daughter's hand in marriage? You know, just be old school, be genuine, be calculated in your approach, man, because I guarantee you, I hope that at that time I earned their respect and love and trust to marry this woman.
Oh, you did. So, yeah. But that's our story. That's how we met.
That's how we met.
We'll get into the other.
She was trying to. I ain't gonna even tell y'all. She was trying to.
What?
Huh?
What are you talking about?
She was trying.
Talking about
nothing. I'm crazy.
We could have ended the video there.
I'm crazy, y'all. No,
I don't know what he's
no
talking about. And we'll see y'all in maybe a week about what we're gonna talk about next. We'll figure it out. We'll let y'all know when we post our next.
We're gonna talk about these kids. Boy, I got a funny story.
Oh yeah, once about the
my
kids
God.
getting
Together and getting to know me.
and getting to know Anthony. We'll talk about that next.
I cannot
It
wait.
is a pretty good story.
It's a funny
we'll do
stuff.
that. We'll do that next.
We
next
will
week.
talk about family next week.
It might be backwards in the camera.
You know,
It wouldn't. Okay.
Thanks, Judge Judy.